Hello, everybody. Lots of tough talk these days about taking concentrated risk in your investment portfolio without the context of what that is. So, this week we're going to chop it up about what all is concentration risk in your investment portfolio and taking concentration, and does it build wealth? Let's chop it up. All right. Welcome back. You know, I love that music. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Cherry, founder and CEO of Concurrent Financial, and this is the Life Money Balance podcast. We let your life lead your money, not your money lead your life. We want your life and money to work concurrently so you can align, aspire, and achieve your life's design. All right. So let's chop it up about that that concentration risk in your portfolio. By the way, we are coming to you live. We're recording every week. I am in Detroit, Michigan, in the Delta Lounge. So they make it real comfortable for us here. So I am going to talk to you while I'm here. Okay. So let's talk about that concentration risk. We have heard a lot on social media, and you may have been referred to by maybe friends or maybe another advisor or something like that, to where concentration in your portfolio builds wealth and diversification preserves wealth. Well, there's a lot of context that needs to be considered about taking concentration in your portfolio. And one of them is that, well, you can build wealth both ways. You can build wealth by taking concentration, meaning, and we'll get to that about what concentration is. But I want you to really take home that you can build wealth both ways with concentration and also diversification. All right. And when and if you decide to uh, choose your investment strategy or change it up a little bit, then you can go in with a little more context, a little bit more financial education surrounding investment planning that is say, is that a good fit for me? Okay. So the four areas that we're going to discuss is first, let's chop it up about taking concentration risk in your portfolio. All right. So what we're talking about concentration risk is when you are focusing on one asset in your overall investment portfolio. Now, your investment portfolio can mean a few things. So it can mean your financial investment, your investment, your financial investment portfolio, which is your market portfolio, and that's in the financial market, stocks, ETFs, index funds, and the like. So you're invested in the financial market, and you can take concentration risk there by picking individual stocks, uh, or you can concentrate on a sector, say like technology, and you can focus on that, and or you can focus on, that's just inside of the market. Okay, now that's juxtaposed or compared to diversification, where you have a lot of stocks in your basket for in your financial market basket. Okay, now when we're talking about concentration, let's take the S&P, for example, S&P 500, which is 500 domestic stocks. Well, now you have 500 eggs in the basket, so to speak. Well, one of those eggs could be a company that you're confident about. Maybe you've done some research. Hopefully, you've done some research. Many folks just select a stock and may not do their research. Uh, but if you have done your research and you say, I feel confident about this one stock, and you also have some technical analysis skills where you're doing some charting potentially, or you maybe you've done some fundamental analysis where you're reading up on the company, and you say, I want to take one egg out of that 500 basket and focus on that. Say like, and this is not a recommendation, but just a record, just a one company off the top of my head. You can say Microsoft. You can say, you know what? I think that stock is on sale, so to speak. Okay. It's the holiday season. A lot of people don't like shopping in the stock market on sale, but they can go out into the shops and buy on sale. you know, you can actually compound your money by shopping on sale in the market instead of taking a depreciating asset and doing extra shopping during the holiday season. But I don't discourage holiday shopping though, because if you have capacity and it's in your space it's in your plan and your capacity, shopping is okay. All right. So mindful shopping. Let's get back to taking, that one egg, for example, like Microsoft, and it's on sale in the stock market. Well, what about if you decide to do that and you invest your entire portfolio, okay, your entire portfolio into one stock or three or four or five stocks versus 500, and say like you're confident about the technology sector, so you buy uh, you buy five technology stocks that you believe in. All right. So it may be Microsoft, it may be Apple, so to speak. Okay. So you have concentration in the technology sector. Okay. That's what we're talking about by concentration in the financial markets. And there's so many other more examples. Uh, Now, you can also be concentrated in another asset class, such as real estate, where your concentration is on real estate. You have rental properties, you may have some commercial real estate, and you actually own that real estate, and you may not be in the financial markets. You say, I have the skill, I have the time, I have the resources and all that to be in real estate, and that's what you want to do. You could also be concentrated in a human capital asset class yourself, your business, all right, where you are investing in yourself and relying on yourself and your business and pouring a lot of capital into a business. And again, you are concentrated in that one area. Okay. Well, that could pay off as well. And your business could thrive. And when you're investing skills in yourself in order to either build a business or build up a skill, and you're investing over time in that concentrated area, then hey, that could work out also. So there's many areas that where you can be concentrated in, for as concentrated asset is concerned. We could, again, just for a recap: real estate, stock market, uh, human capital, and you could just choose anything as far as concentration in order to build your wealth, so to speak. Remember, I said it: diversification and concentration can build wealth. We'll get to that in a moment. But I just wanted to review what is concentration. Okay. Now, let's talk about when we're investing in an area of concentration. This is where a lot of folks post a lot of content without context. But we're going to get into what is concentration risk right now. Okay, so concentration risk. What is that? Well, when you are focused on one thing or overweight in an area, meaning you have more of one thing or one asset class, way more than another, then you are honed in on one specific area. Again, from the last segment, talking about real estate, maybe your human capital, maybe your business, maybe one or two or three or four stocks in the stock market, maybe a sector. You can also be concentrated in your company stock as well. So if you're granted a lot of stock through a equity compensation plan and the like, you could have your portfolio can be overweight, meaning you have a lot more of that one thing than the rest of your portfolio. You can be overweight your company portfolio, your company stock. Okay. You could be overweight technology, going back to the example. You can be overweight real estate. You could be overweight in your business. Okay, it's over and underweighting, right? So overweight. And what happens with that? What's the risk with that? Well, one of the main risk is that if you have one investment in those in that area, then if it underperforms, you are taking the whole ride either up or down. That's the thing with folks that talk about concentration. Yes, you can invest in it. Yes, it can build wealth. It can pop off, and that's great. And also, it's neither discouraged or encouraged. I just want you to consider the risk because, for example, if you are have a long term, a long time horizon, and you set out your plans and goals, your risk should align with what your investment planning is and your goals. So some folks go into, and some people preach online and this, that, and the other, that the only way to build an exorbitant amount of wealth is just taking this concentration. Well, if that doesn't align with what your goals are, and not your goals, your capacity, your your risk tolerance, and what you want to achieve, then that misalignment is going to uh, cause you some emotional strain, anxiety, worry, and it could delay your goals that you want to accomplish. Okay. So let's take an example of concentration risk. Uh, let's say that you are invest in the technology sector in the financial markets, and specifically one, two, three, four, maybe five stocks in the technology sector only. Okay. And what if the technology sector, which is volatile sometimes, loses 10, 15, 20%, 25%, 30. We've had that recently, 30%. Now, that could be on sale, and we'll talk about how to do this later, uh, or how you could go about. Now, if that volatility, if you're comfortable with that volatility like that, with that massive drawdown on your portfolio, then you're taking that full ride without any diversification, meaning you don't have anything else that may be going down at a lower rate. All right. Maybe the technology sector or those stocks that you pick could be going down 30%. Well, what if some other area was only going down maybe 5% or 10% or 2% or no percent? Okay. That means you have something else in your bucket to uh, you know, mitigate the downside risk of the portfolio. That's the magic of diversification, where not everything may be going down, and maybe not everything may be going down um, at a such a dramatic clip. Okay, so with diversification in the market, or excuse me, concentration risk in the market, it's the volatility. Are you comfortable? That goes back to your risk tolerance, your risk preference, your time horizon, your capacity. Your capacity is the amount of resources that are afforded to you. That you have income and maybe savings, and for your goals. Can you afford? Do you have the capacity in order to take on that risk? So it's different strokes for different folks. Okay. You could be concentrated in business. Okay, your business could be illiquid. That's it. It could be booming. All right, but if you are invested in that business 100% without any other assets, then you're riding the wave of the valuation of that business and also the cash flows of that business. Same with real estate. Okay, real estate can go up or down. For instance, I just heard a story with the changing interest rates. Uh, I had one person tell me a story that they have an abundance of properties, and now that interest rates that have gone up, it's tough to sell. So they sell the property so they can use a couple for rentals. All right, but interest rates affects, that's an economic event that we cannot control, affects whether folks are in or out of those rental properties, or the valuation of those homes as well. Okay. So you're highly concentrated. Now, investing in real estate is can be very fruitful. Can be very fruitful if you have the capacity, the time, the expertise, everything like that. Sure, it could be wealth building. Absolutely. Right? I just want you to be mindful of the other side. I also heard a real estate story here recently to where uh, one or two properties are uninhibited, not lived in, and also had to bear some repair costs. And that had an effect on somebody's retirement window. Okay, so there's a lot of things to consider while you are. Let's pivot toward why you're investing into yourself. All right, monies that are going into yourself to build yourself is a great opportunity because then you can use that human capital in order to produce a lot of income and also income to wealth. But while you're investing in those properties, yourself, capital, all right, you're not investing potentially in a diversified market, and you're foregoing investments that could be compounding in order to invest in self. On the flip side, you could be you have to know the trade-off, which is investing into yourself, knowing for a period of time then that the return on your investment is going to be delayed, but it could shoot up after 3 or 4 or 5 years, say like a business is concerned. Okay, so uh, again, not wanting to make you afraid of wanting to invest in have concentrated risk in order to build wealth or concentration strategy and build wealth. Just want to have a little context of you know what concentration is and what type of risks could be out there in order to uh, that could affect the outcome of not only your goals, your risk tolerance, your worry, anxiety, and again, just overall outcomes. Okay. All right. So let's talk about, and we talked about it a little bit, diversification versus concentration. Okay. Let's chop it up. All right. Back at it. Concentration versus diversification. You've heard of diversification a lot. And again, when you're talking about building a investment portfolio, diversification, you can't walk out of the door without hearing about diversification. And what that is we covered it a little bit, is it could be diversification amongst your positions, stock positions in the financial market. Say if you have S&P 500, instead of having one, two, three, four, five companies, you have 500. Okay, you can invest globally. So instead of having a portfolio that is invested in domestic, which is U.S. only, if you happen to live in the United States, you can invest across countries and locations. Say, uh, let's talk about Africa or Europe or China. Okay, so diversifying yourself across the world. You can also diversify across sector. It could be technology, retail, okay, real estate funds. Uh, so you can diversify in many ways in order to have a broad portfolio to where one area might be doing well, another might not be, and it kind of offsets each other, hopefully a little bit, and it mitigates volatility to where you can also the volatility to where when one area may be suffering large losses, uh, or then another area may be suffering less large losses and bringing down your overall loss a little lower. Okay, you can also be diversified and all areas may be doing well. Okay, so it doesn't always have to be doom and gloom. You can grow with diversification also, because if you can mitigate some of the downside risk when the upside is doing well, then you've preserved your principal, okay, by having less losses because you weren't having all your eggs in one basket. That said, when you're talking about diversification, one of the trade-offs is uh, diversification versus concentration. One of the trade-offs is with diversification, you may experience a little haircut at the top, meaning let's say technology is booming. Okay, well, if you're diversified and the retail sector is not doing so well, then you have the technology sector going way up, and then the uh, retail sector may be just right here, and that means that you didn't experience all of the upside of the technology sector because you were dampened on the upside by a lower performing other sector. Okay, so diversification works both ways. It can potentially help you with the downside mitigation and volatility, meaning you're not experiencing down markets as wide. That said, it's going to give you a slight haircut at the top, and that's a trade-off. That's what you pay for diversification. And over time, it should smooth out. But you are get the trade-off is a slight haircut at the top. Okay. Uh, Now, when you're talking about concentration, you can have a an investment in a particular like stock sector, country, and so on and so forth, real estate, hard asset, right? Yourself, all of that, and then with that investment, if that happens to do very well, then you get 100% of that growth, and it could be multiples. Actually, your business can boom on year 4, year 5. The stock market, which you bought on sale, if you took care of some opportunities, took advantage of some sale opportunities, and that stock pops, right? It's multiplied 100% over a year, 50% over a year, 30% over a year. Then your position there could be doing very well. Okay. Also with real estate, you can have a real estate boom. You also have a bust. Then your real estate positions are doing very well. Okay. So what you receive on the upside, which is 100%, you can receive on the downside 100% also. Okay. And I'm going to say this too. When you're talking about concentration, I've said it a couple of times, you need to have time, resources, capacity, and aligned goals in order to benefit from concentration if it pays off. Okay. Uh, a lot of folks say that they want this concentrated risk, but yet uh, don't have the other factors inside of them in order to uh, benefit greatly from concentration. Right? If you have diversification, it's built in. You can build growth over time, right? And most folks aspire to build wealth over time with a less volatility, less emotional decisions. Um, it's a cheaper entry point, like say ETFs and index funds, so to speak, on all those. So uh, you can build wealth over time by investing constantly in the financial markets and in other areas too. You In order to build wealth, you can also diversify across these areas. So if you let's bring this home. Here's a magic pill. Could be all right. Just is you invest some in the financial markets. You buy yourself a little real estate. You invest in yourself, okay, to produce more income, and you invest in other areas. Okay, so just because you invest in one, meaning financial markets, doesn't mean you can't invest in the other. All right, you can diversify across these um, these assets yourself, market, real estate. I'm just giving a couple of examples. Your business, all of those, and that is your overall portfolio. Also, you don't have to starve one to feed the other. It all depends. It all depends on your other factors too: time, resources, information, expertise. Okay, all of these areas. One of the things that the financial markets make it easy is you don't have to have. Well, I wouldn't say you don't have to have. I would say you get You can buy diversification cheaply and regularly without having so much expertise in these concentrated areas. So that's one benefit of diversification as well. Okay. All right. So we're coming around the bend here. Want to answer one more question. Does concentration build wealth? Let's chop it up. All right. So we're coming on to the end of the show. Does concentration build wealth comparative to diversification? Well, yes, it can. It could and can. Okay. Like I mentioned before, if you invest in some of these categories and focus all on them, then it could be greatly uh, beneficial, compounded wealth, uh, and it could all turn out fantastic if you're dedicating all those other resources into your concentrated wealth, that time, expertise, capacity, this, that, and the other. Okay. It could also delay uh, over time growth if one of these concentrations does not work out. Okay. So that's the context I want you to take home today, is just being aware. Some folks come with an approach of using concentration as a complement to a portfolio, not necessarily your core portfolio. That's called core and satellite, which you have your core portfolio, your main portfolio that you're using in order to fund your future, and that's a diversified manner. And then you bookend it by having a satellite portfolio where you can have cash on hand in order to take care of advantage. Maybe there's a property out there, maybe there's more stock on sale that you say, that's a discount, that's a good deal. Let me go out and purchase stocks on sale, property on sale, a side hustle, build up your business. So you could core and satellite across these concentrated areas, or core and satellite within the financial markets, okay? Which is investing into a diversified portfolio. As let's say you have 100% of your portfolio, you use 80%, 80 or 90% of your core portfolio as a diversified area, and 10 to 20%, 5, 10 to 20% in a concentrated area where you're trying to take care of opportunities. Concentration as a complement, and your core as your main concern. All right. So that's one opportunity to do that. And again, you're not having to sacrifice one or the other, or you can hone in on a strategy that best fits your goals, risk capacity, or risk tolerance, capacity, time horizon, values, expertise, all that. Okay. So you've got a couple of ways that uh, you can cook this meal, meaning build wealth. All right. Both of them build wealth depending on which lane you want to drive in, and just want you to have considerations when you're taking concentration. Use it as a complement or a core, but know the context either way. Okay. I strongly suggest working with a financial professional in order to get some feedback and help you go through a process to say which one is best fit for you. That's the key. So a lot of good information out there in the world, the online world, a lot of bad also. So this is why we're here, to help chop it up to see what's best for you. Okay, that's our conversation for the week. Thank you for listening. If you like the content, please keep coming back. Like and subscribe. We're coming to you live. It doesn't matter where we are. Look at it. We're at the airport lounge right now. All right, now we'll talk to you soon. And also, Happy New Year. Cheers.